This episode of Sideline Warning is brought to you by Roost Sport, makers of the original magnetic running pouch. Whether you're biking, running, hiking, or even traveling, the Roost Sport clips to your waistband with magnets for an easy, convenient way to carry what you need without the bulk of belts or bags. Visit theroostsport.com and use the code SIDELINE30, all lowercase, for 30% off their entire product line. Again, that's theroostsport.com, promo code SIDELINE30. And now on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, put down your solo cups and fried pickles because this is Sideline Warning, the show with the perfect balance of hot sports takes, amazing insights, and good Lord, amen, get off my lawn style rants. If you want to be a part of the madness, call the Blitz line at 931-44-BLITZ. That's B-L-I-T-Z, because that's how you spell Blitz. And now, here to recap this week's biggest and best stories from around the Southeast and beyond are your hosts, the phenomenal brother Adam Russell and the golden voice of the Southeast, Dave Adams. Let's do this.
And welcome into Sideline Warning, everybody. As always, you've got the one, the only, the golden voice of the Southeast, Dave Adams, coming to you live and in living color from Harvest, Alabama, all the way at the top of the state of Alabama, because I am on top of everything. And has there been a worst weekend for Bama fans and Braves fans all in the same? Because I can't think of one. So let's bring in our other buddy to loathe and self-pity with us. Not supposed to laugh at my jokes yet. All the way from the House of Mouse, Azalea Park, Bonaventure Lakes, Goldenrod, Groveland, Horizon West, Lake Mary, Leesburg, Lisbon, Midway, St. Cloud, the phenomenal brother Adam Russell.
How much loathing and self-pity are you doing, Dave?
I mean, there's
that's a very heavy thing to say.
Well, not only am I a Bama fan,
yes,
but I also consider myself a North Carolina basketball fan.
Yeah.
And my most hated rival not only made it to the Final Four before Alabama ever got a chance to, but they beat North Carolina on the way to said Final Four.
Yeah. It's a double whammy for you, David.
You used my Christian name.
I did.
Well,
you're loathing and self-pity. I don't know what to do. I'm very uncomfortable right now.
Okay, well.
I'm only loathing and self-pity because of Auburn, but I know that at the end of the day, the Bear's up there, and he's going to make it happen.
You're a fog.
What?
You're a fog.
Yeah, I am. You're right.
No.
Listen to me. He has the direct line to the Almighty. Auburn's going to make it to the championship game and lose with a last buzzer beater. Heartbreaking shot. And we're going to be glad this happened.
See, I think it's the other way around, because somehow Bruce Pearl found Gus Malzahn's stuff and something happened.
Hey, it'll give him something else to talk about other than the kick six for a while. So,
God, please, no. Can you imagine living in a world where not only Alabama lost in horrible fashion to Clemson in a national championship game and made every Auburn fan's wonderful night, but also them playing for a national championship in basketball? So they consider themselves a football school, but then they get close and win in basketball? Yeah. What kind of world do you want to raise your kids in? Is that the kind of world that you want your kids to be raised in?
That's why I raise my children in Florida.
Well, you have to deal with
I don't have to hear it
down there.
No, I got to deal with the Golden Knights is what I got to deal with.
That's very true. You know, someone else that I think feels the same way you and I do about Auburn is Hunter Johnson.
Yeah.
And he was kind enough to come on the show and talk candidly with us. I mean, he tells his thoughts on Avery Johnson and the exit of Avery Johnson. And he even tells us his thoughts, what he thought of when Nate Oats was the hire for Alabama, which I think, shockingly, it was more along the lines of your thoughts than mine.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll play that interview for you, and then we'll come back and talk. Maybe you and I will talk about the hire just briefly, and then we'll see you on the other side. And like we said earlier, we have welcoming on Alabama basketball superfan Hunter Johnson. Hunter, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. I just got back from meeting our new basketball coach earlier tonight. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
Really excited about the future of this program.
I'll tell you what, I was expecting a huge name, but then when I started looking into his stats and everything, we'll get into this in a couple of minutes, but when I started looking into everything, I'm really excited about what Nate Oats can do for this program.
I could not agree with you more. We'll get into it more later, but that's essentially the exact same reaction that I had.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and let you know, ever since we've lost Ben, of course, Ben Foster was a big part of this show. Ben probably was upset because he's got two dogs as old co-hosts. Adam and I are turning the corner. I think I've turned the corner more than Adam, but I'll tell you what, seeing Nate Oats as a hire really excites me, and I think it's going to get a lot more of the fan base excited.
I tend to agree, and Ben might actually be a bigger Alabama basketball fan than even I am. I don't know. I love the time. I didn't go to Canada 2 years ago.
Oh man!
And dude was periscope. The feed wasn't working, and dude was periscoping the game for people. It was awesome.
Nice.
See, now I was really going to ask you. That's going to be one of my questions between you, Fluffopotamus, and Ben. Who's the biggest Twitter Bama basketball fan? But
I have some things that I've done. I've done some ridiculous things. I drove to San Diego in 2006 for the NCAA tournament.
Wait, you drove?
Yep, drove.
Wow. Okay. You might take the cake. I don't know. Ben did drive to Canada, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
Oh wow. All right. So let's get down to business here, Hunter. Tell us about the reaction of what you thought of and what you thought when news broke that Avery Johnson was let go from Alabama or mutually parted ways with Alabama.
I was happy because I thought. I don't mean that to sound like a jerk. I thought that a change needed to happen. I did not think that he was the right guy for the future of our basketball program. Did I think he probably deserved another year based on what he had done? Yeah. But to me, you have to look at it. Let's say, he does deserve another year, but what's that next year going to look like? And what's the years after that going to look like? And, if he got another year, I think we probably would have gotten the same results we've gotten the last 4 years. I don't think anything was going to be any different. And then, where are you looking at for the next year? Do you have any positive momentum going? And we didn't. So I was happy that I think it happened about as good as it could have, and that it's not like Avery entered into a standoff. He essentially said, "Look, this isn't working. Let's negotiate." And I think Greg was ready to give him another year.
Really?
But yeah, I do. But then when he said that, it's okay, well, now we can get the ball rolling. I don't know that Greg was necessarily looking to. I think Greg wanted to see some changes, but I don't think it was I don't think Greg initiated the talks of negotiating the buyout. I think that was Avery.
Wow.
Yeah, we were wondering about that too. Me and Dave had a lot of text conversations, and we say our text conversations could be a show of themselves. I think the delay, it was after we lost in the first round of the NIT. I wanted to see something happen that day, but it felt like exactly what you're saying, that it took some time to get there. And I think you're spot on with that. It felt like that, at least from my regard, that Greg wasn't quite ready yet to take it. So.
Yeah, I don't think anything was going to happen. I think they met on that, I guess it was Thursday, and, talked about, the future of the program. And I think that Greg was prepared to give him another year and was going to tell him, we need to see some changes. And I think Avery said, I just want to know this is working. And, props to him because it makes sense from his perspective. If he's not happy, why are you going to come back and, just coach another year? I mean, you're pretty much going to get the same amount of money no matter what. And now you can get it as a lump sum. And you just go ahead, walk away. It lets us go ahead and move forward. But so, you asked what my reaction was when I got the news. I was also really concerned because, this is coaching hires are tough. It's very much a crapshoot. You don't know, my phone was just for a week. I feel bad for my employer because I probably got the least amount of work done during last week. Just during those 6 days, it was just my phone was just blowing up. all the time. I'd be driving around doing sales calls, and I get a phone call from somebody, and end up next thing I know, I've been on the phone for 30 minutes talking about the future of our basketball program. Like, damn, I got to go to work. But and like you said, you start hearing a lot of big names thrown around. The name that the big one that was really thrown around the most was Thad Matta, and that was even the day of us hiring Oats. Everybody thought that Matta was the guy. I mean, I had journalists texting me, "Hey, I hear it's Matta. What are you hearing?" And I'm like, I'm hearing a lot of people say it's Matta, but part of me also just thought that was like one person with a source, and they were telling other people, and everybody was just bouncing it off each other. It was like a Gump echo chamber where we're just all like bouncing the same thing off each other. I think that's pretty much what it proved to be, because clearly the name was not Thad Matta. I don't think I had Nate Oats on my list of potential hires, but he was not at the top.
Right.
And I really didn't know a ton about him other than, I've seen, I watched him play a couple times, seen what he's done there, like just from a pure record standpoint. Really hadn't even like delved into the stats of what they do too much in terms of offensive efficiency. But I had him, like, he was like the kind of on my top tier of those like mid-major guys,
right,
but below like your Thad Matta, Kelvin Sampson, that kind of thing. So I was a little bit shocked when I did it, but it shows that Greg Byrne, he had a guy, like, that was his guy. I do think that we probably put out a feeler. We probably contacted Billy Donovan's agent and said, "Hey, is there any interest in coming back?" And
right,
you'd be a fool not to do that. Like, you at least do your due diligence, make sure that he doesn't want to come back. And then I think that at that point, Greg had his guy that he wanted, and he went and he got him within 5 days.
Yeah, and it sounded to me like, and I don't know, this is just me probably putting in conspiracy theory, but it almost sounded, as quick as it moved, that Greg probably had Nate Oats on his mind before Avery came to his office and said, "Hey, let's end this."
I would agree with that. Greg has even said that he has a list of potential hires for like every sport. Like, he keeps that all the time.
Right.
Like, because he wants to be ready when it's time to go. So Greg's a smart guy. He talks to smart people. He's a basketball guy too. Like, he really gets the game of basketball and talks to a lot of really smart people in the basketball community. I know that he's still very tight with Sean Miller. And so I imagine that Sean Miller probably told him, like, yeah, Nate Oats is legit. And Sean Miller would know, considering the NCAA tournament last year.
Right.
Yeah. So, and he, Greg was talking to the right people. I know that, and I know that he had that name ready. So when he probably put out from agent to agent, probably put out a feeler to Billy Donovan. But then when that is clearly not going to happen, boom, he had his guy ready to go, and it's like, he went after him hardcore right away.
Yeah.
So one of the things, sorry, Dave. One of the things we've talked about, Hunter, on the show a lot was upward trajectory, and as long as we were maintaining that upward kind of feel, we were okay overall with Avery, and I think we plateaued and probably even dipped a little bit. I mean, when you look at where we stand today from a program with Avery on the way out, and you look at a guy like Nate Oats and his track record at Buffalo, and that he was even just got an extension with them. I mean, what do you see for the next year or two? I mean, what do you feel like Alabama basketball fans can expect? And is it going to be enough in your mind for us Fogs to get on board and feel like that we can, quote unquote, buckle up with Nate at the helm?
I don't think we're using buckle up anymore. Let's finish that. Speaking of which, I have a gently used seatbelt belt if anybody's interested in
Nice.
I think a lot's going to depend on two guys, and that's Kyra Lewis Jr. and Watford. If Kyra comes back, which I don't have a problem with Kyra entering the transfer portal. When Avery left, if anything, you're dumb not to, because you don't know what kind of coach is going to be hired. You at least give yourself options.
Yeah.
Now, where it sucks is that it's a new world. It's the wild west there now, and that with the transfer portal, they can just enter it, and then boom, anybody can contact them, and it's not tampering.
He's followed by Duke now, right? So
yeah,
Duke has contacted him.
Yeah, it sucks, but I get it from Kyra's perspective. That said, Nate Oats tonight at Hey Coach talked about how him and Kyra sat in film room for an hour this morning, going through. I mean, Coach Oats is essentially having to re-recruit him. and show him. I guess it's an added advantage that Kyra's already on the team in town. So that helps Coach Oates' case, and it helps that Kyra would not have to sit out a year if he stays. Yeah. But also, Kyra is freaking perfect for this offense and what Nate Oats does. The same way, and Petty, perfect 2-guard for this offense. It's like, and then you throw in a guy like a Trendon who could play the 4 in this offense. Coach Oates talked tonight about how we have good talent. It's more so just kind of developing some skills for a lot of these guys. We have developed some skills with John Petty. He talked about how he's a really good shooter. We need to work with him taking the ball off the dribble a little bit more. With really, really good driving to the basket hard, we need to work on the shooting a little bit more. Which I feel like he said like all the things that I really wanted to hear. And he even called Kyra. He said, perfect point guard. He said, that's exactly the kind of point guard that you want. He said, he's perfect. Literally said he's perfect, which I guess that's probably a little bit of a recruiting ploy too. And then a guy like Trendon Watford. Trendon Watford's not a one and done, or really even close to that. But he's a top 40 player that could come in and contribute right away. And he's a McDonald's All-American that grows up 50 miles from your campus. You need to sign those guys.
Right.
So if we get both of those guys, we could be really good next year. Now I think start off slow because it's going to take some guys some time to get used to the system, and it's very different than what we've done. But I could see us being a really good team by the end of the year.
Let me ask you this, Hunter. You talked about Trendon Watford, so I have to ask a name. Everyone's saying that we need a local assistant coach. Is Bucky McMillan coming in to be an assistant coach at Alabama?
Right now, I really don't know. I know that they've had talks, but I don't want us to hire Bucky McMillan for Trendon Watford. I want us to hire Bucky McMillan because he's a good coach. I think Bucky's a great coach. I think he deserves a shot as an assistant somewhere. Heck, I think he would even be a reasonable hire for a small D1 as a head coach. Where I kind of didn't get it was like all these people saying like, oh, we should hire Bucky McMillan as a head coach. Like there were people out there saying that.
No.
That's a bridge too far for me. And again, I really like Bucky. I think he's an awesome coach. But like if we brought him on, I want Coach Oates to bring on, whoever he wants on staff. Whoever he wants, I'm good with. I think right now he's got Hodgson, who I'm really, really high on. He's legit. And then I think you'll have at least one guy from the former staff on it.
Probably Petway.
I mean, yeah, I hope so. But I could see Rosemond staying on too.
Yeah.
I could see him keeping 2 guys actually.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. I think you need Petway because Petway can bring that. Hey, I played here. This is kind of how we did things. This is why we need to do things better. But beyond that, I don't know. Maybe it's just the old fog in me, but we need to just throw that whole staff away and start over minus Petway.
That is a very fog thing to say. And I think, and I hate to I want to tread carefully here. The problem was not the assistant coaches.
Okay.
If anything, the assistant coaches held things together and made them not as bad as they could have been.
Okay, that's fair, and I will take back my fog statement. How's that?
Okay, I appreciate that. Also, real quick, if y'all hear any bell in the background, my cat Murphy, has decided to just be all over me right now.
Hey, it's all right.
She has a bell collar, and it is jingling a little bit. So
hey, if we get any appearances by Cat Murphy or Sarah Catterson.
Sarah Catterson.
We are going to be okay because that means we've been graced by royalty on this show.
There you go.
It's funny. I was at the Tuscaloosa Bicentennial celebration on Saturday night. It was Jason Isbell and Moon Taxi and St. Paul and the Broken Bones, and I was in this kind of backstage area. I had thankfully one of my friends hooked me up with the VIP because we had food and a bar and everything. And Sarah Patterson was there and Coach Murphy was there, and I walked up to them and I was, they know the whole cat thing,
right?
And I'm like, wow, in the room with both of the people that my cats are named after.
That's great. That is great. I have to ask, and you can politely decline to talk about any of this, but I have heard rumors on Twitter about our former coach's wife having some issues with some fans and some students and the way things were said. Is there any truth to this? What was, if you can go into any stories?
She was just a problem.
Okay.
Just, I don't know how to I don't want to go into too much detail, but yeah, she was a problem.
Okay.
And I feel bad for Avery that he had to deal with it. Last year during a game, Colin Sexton, got the ball at the top of the key, and she yells, from her seat behind the bench, "Pass the ball, Colin!" And he sits and looks at her. Seriously, are you really yelling at me like this? Yelling at a freaking lottery pick to pass the ball? Come on. Yeah, she was a problem.
Okay, that's
and she was unhappy, and not just that, she was unhappy here. This was too small of a pond for her.
Okay.
She needed somewhere bigger.
That's about what I had heard. It was probably more of a what was the Kim Rodriguez type situation? Rita
Rodriguez.
Yeah. I knew it was big hair. That's all I remember. But so we've kind of touched on it a little bit. Tell me your thoughts on Wednesday, or was that Wednesday? Yeah, it was Wednesday when the news broke. Your tweet was the first one I saw. I'm not going to lie. It was something like "we got him" or something like that. So my initial thought is Thad Matta, and I'm starting to Twitter search Thad Matta. I'm starting to Twitter search all these other names. I didn't know who Nate Oats was. So
I don't think I said we got him. I'm trying to, because I was so shocked. Because I still thought it was going to be Matta, and everybody's tweeting about Matta.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not saying anything yet because I don't feel good enough with the information that I have on this yet.
Right.
And then sure, boom, Cecil tweets. I had ate lunch with Cecil 2 hours before that too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and neither of us had any idea that it was Oats. And Cecil tweets, Nate Oats will be named the head coach. And I was sitting at a red light. Yeah, I was looking at my phone, worried, whatever. I was not moving. My car was not moving. But yeah, and I was just shocked. It hit me. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, I had this guy on my list, the major guys, he was up there. And I was like, well, wait, why didn't we go after guys like Thad Matta and what the hell? And then I kind of go back to, well, Gray Byrne, this is Gray Byrne's guy. Clearly, Gray Byrne thinks enough of him. And then I go back to, has this guy even stepped foot in the state of Alabama before? What are we going to do with recruiting? What the hell? What's he thinking? And I'm like, well, Greg's good at this. He's made some really, really good hires. And then I go back to, this guy's probably never had freaking sweet tea before. How's he going to recruit kids? And so then I just, that night, actually, I went to a concert that night, so I didn't really deal with it that much. I was kind of off the radar. It was Patty Griffin's show in Birmingham. It was fantastic. And so the next morning I wake up, and a buddy of mine had, Matt Dover, who runs Bama Expats, had sent me a podcast on Nate Oats' kind of offensive philosophy. And I listened to that, and after 45 minutes of that podcast, I was 100% all in, ready to go. Just got excited about what I heard out of the guy. I read some other articles about Coach Oats during the day, and literally, 15 hours later, I'm 100% all in on the guy.
Wow, that's saying something, because you were pretty much 100% all in on Avery, on Anthony Grant, all those. Here is probably Adam can ask this question better, but Adam, I'm going to paraphrase for you right now.
Okay.
I think what Adam was worried about originally was Anthony Grant was this can't miss hire. Avery Johnson was this can't miss hire.
Avery Johnson was not a can't miss hire.
Okay.
Avery Johnson was just taking a chance on somebody.
Okay, well,
and trying to do something different than what we had been doing, and not going the traditional mid-major roulette route that we had been going.
Okay, well, definitely Anthony Grant was that can't miss hire. Well,
he was for sure, and he was. Sorry to interrupt you. I still maintain that Anthony Grant was a great hire. It just didn't work.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think that at that point in time, Alabama was definitely a fog school.
We helped, but you look at who that he chose us over the Georgia job.
Right.
That was he was a hot commodity at the time.
Yeah, he was. Because we threw enough money at him. I love Mal Moore to death. God rest his soul. But if it wasn't oval, Mal Moore didn't care.
Right.
And I think that's the difference. In my mind, I'm answering this question for you, and you can elaborate if you choose to. I think the difference between Anthony Grant's can't miss hire and the Nate Oats can't miss hire is we have a guy in the athletic department that likes to put enough money into all sports, not just football, that will make this hire worth it.
the guy who truly cares about all sports.
Right.
And he's not just, the last 2 hires that we've done, it's been more of like, yeah, we care enough, but like essentially we're just throwing money at it. Whereas with this, I think Greg like legitimately cares and is going to legit do anything he can to help our basketball coach.
Yeah, and when we were talking about it right after it happened, Ben put it really well. That my feeling, he encapsulated it in one text and said, we had the opportunity to go after a coach that could get us in the Final Four really quickly, and it feels like Nate Oats is going to have to build towards it a little bit. But I was not happy with it. Wasn't a fan. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Hunter, where I think I've gotten more into the feel of what Greg's going after. What's really sold me is just seeing the enthusiasm that he's bringing and going out and meeting fans. And, I mean, he's all in. He's going in on this full throttle, it feels like, with both feet, where he's an Alabama guy now.
Dude went to California Saturday night. The dude's been down in Florida yesterday.
Yeah.
Freaking killing, going balls to the wall on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on board. I honestly am, but it did feel a little bit to me like we missed the mark. I think that Greg has a vision, and we've talked about that on the show with the 3 of us, right? Is that if Greg has a vision and he can lay that vision out to the right person, great things can happen, and it feels like that's kind of what's going on. So I'm a believer, cautiously.
And I also feel like I was guilty of it the last 2 basketball coaches too. Is like I kind of built up like a cult of personality with them.
Yeah.
And that like I'm not going to let myself do that this time. I've at least told myself that. But like the whole buckle thing and then roll Grant and I'm just just chill like and let Nate do work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although then I met him tonight. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited.
Can we start making the hashtag Ballin Oats, BALLIN Oats?
I'm good with that. I think I'm going to buy a Quaker Oats shirt to wear to games.
Yes.
Like, or at least, wear it once or twice. And I'm trying to get Luke Ratliff, Lithopotamus 88 on Twitter, to dress up as the Quaker Oats man.
He would do it. He's been on the show before. I think he would do it.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about it. I think I'm going to talk him into it.
That's awesome.
That's great. So kind of tell me your thoughts going forward on the year. Are you? You said earlier you're super excited. Let's say Alabama can pull Kira Jr. back in, but somehow misses the mark with Trenton Wofford. Are we at a place right now? Alabama just got a 3-star commitment from a center forward, and I think I saw somewhere that Oats offered a center that had been committed to Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
And so if somehow we miss on the can't miss prospect of Trenton Wofford, is Alabama in a place with the players kind of on this roster and the players coming in that we could be excited for next season?
Yeah, I think we should compete for an NCAA tournament berth in that case.
Okay.
Awesome.
So if Wofford comes in, you're saying Sweet 16 or beyond?
I'm not saying like I would expect the Sweet 16. I would expect, also to be competing for an NCAA tournament berth, like have a chance, maybe make it the second weekend.
Okay. All right.
And I feel like I'm gumping my ass off right now on it. But I really do feel that way. Kyron is a really, really good player, and a lot of it is going to take all of our guys buying in. But I really hope they do, because I think if they do, then great things could happen.
Yeah.
Right. What were your thoughts on Oates' comment on Thursday? If they're in the transfer portal, some of them need to be in the transfer portal. I can think of 2 names that he was.
I thought he should have just added Dazon.
Yeah, and Giddens.
I don't know how much it was directed at Giddens. I don't really have a problem with Giddens.
I think he just fouled her hearing that comment.
Yeah, I think Giddens is like a good dude who, just kind of just never live up to the hype. I don't think that's really his fault. Whereas with Dazon, Dazon's one of the most frustrating Alabama basketball players of my lifetime.
More than Gerald Wallace?
Gerald Wallace wasn't frustrating. Plus, he was only here for 1 year.
Yeah, he was frustrating when he was here because he thought he was better than he was.
So, whoa, okay.
I went to school. I had classes with him.
Okay, I was in Tuscaloosa. I was going to every game. Yeah. We also tried to make him, he couldn't make jump shots.
Right.
And he thought we were also trying to post him up a little bit too much. Honestly, the high post offense was probably not very good offense for him anyway.
That's true. I could give you.
But you can say, he thought he was better than he really was. He was a freaking lottery pick. So
I thought, hold up now. I thought he was like 30th pick of Sacramento.
No, he was, I'm.
All right, Hunter Hunt, come on now. I'm getting up. He was the 25th pick in the Sacramento.
I mean, he was still a first-round draft pick. He probably could have used one more year, but, I mean, the dude played in the league for like 20 years, so I think he did okay.
Yeah, he did okay. I will give you that. But still.
Let's move on. We're not going to agree on this topic.
Hey, if that's the only thing we disagree on tonight, I'll be all right.
We've done all right.
Yeah, all right, Hunter. So we've talked about the coaches. We've talked about all this. We do have to talk about the most recent Twitter wars you've gotten on this past couple of nights. As, unfortunately, this has not been the best week to be an Alabama fan.
It has been an awful sports week.
It really has. I need your thoughts on Alabama fans outwardly saying that they are rooting for Auburn in this basketball tournament.
Well, what you said is factually incorrect because Alabama fans don't do that.
Very true.
Fogs do that. No offense.
Well, we're not anymore. We're
I know, yeah. But yeah, that's what fogs do. Like if you're pulling for Auburn in basketball, you're not an Alabama fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear. There's a word for people who pull for Auburn. Barners. That's it.
I think. Oh, what was you said it yourself? Your friend, what was it? The Bama, ex-Bama Pats or ex-Pats or something?
Bama ex-Pats. Yeah.
Yeah. He said something this morning that I thought said it best. There's no better delineator among Alabama fans to determine who cares about the basketball program than to look and see who has anything positive to say about Auburn making the Final Four before Alabama did. Alabama has had a better basketball program than Auburn for approximately 96 of the past 100 years. If watching Auburn reach the Final Four before Alabama after hiring a known cheater that no one else would hire doesn't make your blood boil, then you do not care about Alabama basketball. And I will take that one further. You do not care about Alabama.
You care about Alabama football. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
And I think I said it this weekend. I think it shows who the bandwagon fans are.
Right.
If you grew up as an Alabama fan, you put that crimson A on your chest, you hate Auburn.
Yeah.
What's the post that you post every Iron Bowl?
My hate list?
Your hate list, right.
Yeah.
It's like, what, 2 pages long?
No, it's like 5 tweets now.
If you grew up an Alabama fan, you hate Auburn. You just hate it.
Hey, Tim, man, we were at a Mardi Gras parade over at Universal a few days ago, and there was a little kid standing next to us with an Auburn visor on. I didn't even want him to catch any Mardi Gras beats. Little kid, man. Little kid. And he would reach over every now and then and snatch one from right in front of my daughter. And, man, that alone was enough to set me off while they're sitting there winning in basketball, being all smug about it, finally talking about sports after a long drought. Yeah, man, it's not right. It's absolutely not right.
I mean, yesterday it literally did make my blood boil. Like I was pissed. Like I was pissed the hell off. And then, it finally happens, and I get people just start texting me like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, is everything all right?" It was like I had it was seriously like I had a death in the family. And I tweeted something about how I feel like somebody's going to end up sending me a casserole. And sure enough, got a text tonight while I was at dinner. A local, gourmet kitchen, they do, pre-made meals. There was a text from them saying they tried to home deliver a casserole to me today, but that I wasn't there. So I'm having to go pick it up. So I'm going to pick it up tomorrow.
That's awesome.
So at least I got that out of it.
Yeah.
To make me feel a little better. Yeah. Some poppy seed chicken.
Ooh, that's good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I do have to ask, did you run Funny Mane off Twitter?
I'm not going to, say that I did, but, here's my thing on that. That dude's his brand using Alabama fans and, using Alabama athletics. It's and good for him. That dude's monetized it too. I'm not sitting here being, a Funny Mane hater. I think Jermaine's a good dude. He does, charity work. He's a good guy. But, when you build your brand around Alabama athletics, especially Alabama football, but, Alabama overall, and, you come out and you cater to Alabama fans, that's your audience. And you come out and say that you're pulling for Auburn, you can't expect, to not get a little blowback on that.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I don't really know what to tell the guy. Like, it's, you know, he can get mad all he wants, but like, he deserved to get some crap for that. And I think I might have been one of the first to like call him out about it, but it wasn't just me.
Nope.
No, but you are the most vocal about it.
I mean, he deserved to get called out. I hope that if I ever do something like that, like, call me out about it. Like,
we will.
You know, there's been times, yeah, do it. And, like, I get like, oh, I have some Auburn friends. Like, you know, I'll pull for like I have a couple buddies who play golf at Auburn. One's on the PGA Tour right now, and others on the web.com. When they play golf, like, I'm all in. Like, I pull for them. Like, as long as they're not going against like Justin Thomas or something. Like, I'll totally pull for them. I've even been known to like say like, more damn Patton. Like, you know, that Patton Kazar who plays in the PGA.
Right.
But like, to me, that's completely different than like pulling for the actual university and like their team.
Right.
Like, that's just I can't get on board with that. If it's not helping the university, if it's not helping Alabama, then like I don't. It's like, and this is clearly Auburn going to a Final Four before us is clearly not helping the university.
It makes the Nate Oats hire even that more important, I think.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, think about how sad we are right now if we, you know, are still kind of on that, you know, plateau, but really more so downward trajectory with Avery and Auburn's in the Final Four.
Right.
Like, there'd be gnashing of teeth right now. Like, Gumps would just be going after each other, would be fighting in the street.
There already are Gumps going after each other.
That's essentially how it was. Like, though, like, trying to remember. Right after the Norfolk State loss, like, Gumps were just going at each other big time. And now with them being in the Final Four, yeah, and you're still seeing like Gumps going at each other, but it's more like Fogs and Alabama fans.
Yeah. Well, I have to ask you one other thing. What's your thought on former Bama players rooting for Auburn in the Final Four? Mac Wilson and O.J. Howard both have tweeted that they are rooting for Auburn.
That pisses me off, but props to Derrick Henry for calling him out.
Yes, I agree. Totally agree.
Yep.
So, all right, Hunter. Well, we appreciate you spending your night with us. I know you got some cats to take care of, and you got to get up early, so we'll let you go. But hey, man, I truly appreciate you coming on and giving your honest opinion of what's going on. And I have one more thing to ask you because you were at the head coach thing tonight. I heard it floated around on Twitter that he walked into Bob's Victory Grill and said, "Hey, I need you to take down all these Avery Johnson posters." Did that happen?
I did not hear that happen.
Okay.
Now I was like also like not paying attention, like literally every word he said. You know, I was moving around and people. But I did not hear that happen. I've seen that out there on Twitter. I do know that there was a Avery Johnson like poster by a door that was ripped off. So
it might have, just not in his words.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Hunter, we appreciate it. If they want to follow you on Twitter, it's Hunter L. Johnson. At Hunter L. Johnson on Twitter?
That's correct. All
right. Probably.
All right, guys.
Besides Ben, the best Twitter follow on about basketball.
Bama expats is probably they really up their game. They do a great job with like kind of data driven analysis. Mine's more like emotional driven analysis, but we get the best of both worlds, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. We really appreciate it, Hunter. Thank you.
All right, guys, enjoyed it anytime.
All right, I'll you later.
All right, roll tide.
Roll tide.
Roll tide.
I'll tell you what, Adam, I really enjoy having Hunter on the show because he's a fresh and unique view of Bama basketball. Being with Ben on the show for the past year and a half, Ben is a level-headed Bama basketball fan, I think I could easily say.
Yeah.
You know, the sky is never blue, the sky is never gray, the sky is kind of mid-level. You're never going to get Ben on a rant like you would get you and I.
Yeah.
I think Hunter is on the same emotional level as you and I.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, he said it himself, right? It doesn't do more of the data analysis more than he does the emotional analysis. Like, that's
right.
A true fan at heart, right?
Yeah, and Ben's not a true fan. Don't get me wrong. Ben is a true fan. But yeah. I think he is a lot more level-headed than, I would say, the three of us now, because Hunter is kind of like you and I. Yeah, when it comes to that. So we talked ad nauseum, I think, about this hire, but we didn't really go into the facts of the hire. So Monday, Greg Byrne comes in front the day you and I record, and it says, here are the 4 key things we're going to look for. NCAA compliance, doesn't win the press conference, he is college basketball experience and can recruit. All four of these things I thought was leaning towards Thad Matta. And I think, we everybody thought Thad Matta was the guy. In fact, I read somewhere that Thad Matta was on campus on Wednesday when the announcement of Nate Oats came through.
Yeah.
Greg Byrne pulled a swerve and Nate Oats came out. Now what I am reading is it's a 5-year contract, $0.4 million with incentives. What are your thoughts?
I mean, the 2.4 with incentives and is something, but we also paid a $750,000 buyout to Buffalo.
Right.
So all of that added together, I think, is exactly like you just talked. I think that Greg knew, if we're willing to not just pay him to be here, but also pay this place where he's coming from, then it's something that he really wanted to go after. I think Greg believes in it. I mean, we've kind of shared that before with how he shared the news, and we talked with Hunter around how he's jumped in with both feet. I think they all agree. I think he's bought into whatever Greg's vision is, and I think it lays it out here. The other thing that's interesting to me is it feels like the buyout drops faster than it did with Avery too.
Because this is a more basketball-minded buyout than Avery's contract. Avery's contract was set up like a football contract.
Yeah.
Because that's what Bill Battle knew what to do.
Yeah.
And this is set up like it.
Yep, I agree. I think overall, I think it's the right amount of money. I think you got somebody who's obviously gonna come with enthusiasm and energy, and I think those are the two things we really need. Not that Avery didn't have that overall, but I mean, you show up at Hey Coach and just the pictures and video and stuff you're seeing from that.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to see somebody make the transition to being a Bama guy that quickly, to come from just playing in the tournament a week ago, right?
Yeah.
With Buffalo, and I think overall everything's where it shows a lot of potential. So initially, you said it in the interview a couple minutes ago that you weren't a fan of the hire. I wasn't. No, I felt like and I mentioned it in there too, that I feel like we had a chance to go after a splash, and we came after with something where you're going to dive, hit the water, and then the splash is going to come in a couple of years.
Yeah.
But it just like Hunter said, though, it's going to depend on who stays and who goes, and who we bring along. Who Oates hires on to be his assistant coaches, and who all the whole picture of personnel comes out to be, both on the staff and on the team. And if you put the right pieces in place, it might be a quicker turnaround than we think we are. I think at the very least, we're at a point where we're not going to be on the same plateau we're at now.
Right. If we're 17-12 at the end of the season, something's wrong.
Yes.
Because what was it, last 5 seasons we've been 17-12 at the end of the season?
Yep.
I think that's a number that we should not be seeing this year. Buffalo had 4 losses all year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Now they play back, but
yeah, a little bit of a different situation. I think we are going to have to. It may be one season that we see that, because, like we've talked before, the SEC has stepped its whole game up. I think the conference as a whole has really become more focused on basketball, and it feels like we're a little bit late to that party overall.
Right.
But I think that we at least can have an upside to compete in that conference now.
Totally agree. So moving forward, I think we are cautiously optimistic about the Oats hire.
That's a perfect term.
So let's all go cautiously optimistically moving forward, but we also need to push the hashtag Ballin' Oats because that needs to be this guy's hashtag. Come on.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
And we need to play Hall & Oates music for everything. I mean, Ballin' Oates, Hall & Oates.
We could call our defense the Man-Eater.
Or the Rich Girls.
Oh.
You're a rich girl. Come on.
We'll think about that one. We'll take Ballin' Oates as a preliminary step, Dave.
You can rely on the old man's money. Wait. No. We don't need to rely on the old man's money.
No, please.
No, we're in too much trouble with the NCAA already. We don't want them around. All right. Somebody else's product that you can rely on. You don't have to use their money. Use your money, and they'll give you 30% off. Is our sponsor, Roosport. You like that, Adam?
This is another premium segue, man. You're like you're the top of the state, top of the segue. That's you.
See, that's why I brought in Rich Girl, because I knew I could bring that segue in. Anyway, man,
awesome.
Roosport.
Yeah, man. I mean, we talk about it every week. It's the solution for running, hiking, when you're traveling, going to music festivals, walking your dog. training your dog stuff where instead of having to carry a bag, instead of having to carry something that is in your pocket, bulk stuff like that, you've got something that clips to your waistband or your belt with magnets, and it stays and it holds everything you need for all of those different things. And I know for us, Dave, we're getting excited looking at like the virtual races that Disney do, and they've got that 4-race series over the summer of a number of 5Ks. And so it's just good knowing that you've got that. We talk about it every week, the base gear to be able to sign up for something like that and know you've got what you have to buy anything new. These things last. I've had one of my 2 Rue Sports I had on the second half marathon I ran in 2012.
Wow.
So I've had one for 7 years, and it's still just as good as it was the day I bought it. So they're durable, and I think that's one of the hardest things to find these days is something that serves a purpose and actually is a multitasker and is durable. You can't really find all of that. And like you said, you get a discount. So it's the best of all worlds.
It's just promo code Sideline30 at checkout. You get 30% off of everything. And I'll tell you this. I've been a believer of their product ever since you showed me last year in April. Well, almost a year ago this month, at the Star Wars Half Marathon. Their product is great.
Yep.
But the people behind the product makes me like it even more. Earl and Brenda, meeting Earl, shaking his hand, was knowing that it's a product that they put their heart and soul in.
Yeah.
Just like we do Sideline Warning. They want each one of their products that goes to you. It's not something made in China. It's something made right here in the USA. It's a product that they put their heart and soul in, and they do it because it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
And knowing that makes me like the product even more.
Absolutely.
So just go on to www.therusport.com. Use that promo code Sideline30. You'll love the product like we do. I'm not going to say we guarantee it, but, we love the product. Okay. You ready for the sideline hodgepodge, I guess?
Let's do it, yeah, the grab bag of topics.
Grab bag of topics. All
Let's do it.
We alluded to it earlier, so let's talk about this one first. The tournament.
Yep.
Everyone's bracket's busted, right?
Oh, yeah, I know mine is to pieces.
I mean, I had North Carolina winning the whole thing.
And I had Duke, and so didn't pick Michigan State?
I don't think so.
To win the whole thing? I can't remember if he did or not. But
he picked Michigan State to win the whole thing.
Yeah, but they're in it. I mean, I don't know that I would have seen Michigan State, Virginia, Auburn, and Texas Tech being the Final Four.
I had Nate Oats beating Texas Tech, actually.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know he was going to be our head coach.
Yeah.
We talked about it with Hunter. Auburn beating North Carolina, beating Kansas, beating all of these blue bloods, Kentucky. We don't like it. We can hate it. We hate the school. But I will say this without sounding like I want to root for them. I'm tight-roping here. We can appreciate what they have done as the accomplishment with the. I hate that it's Auburn that's doing it, though.
Yeah.
How is Auburn the one wearing the glass slipper? Because their coach is fat. He has fat feet. How is that fat foot fitting in that glass slipper?
Maybe it's not made of glass. Maybe they're not going to do anything past this. I don't know. Yeah, we talked about it too, Dave. Off the show, and to bring it up here, I think that it's probably one of the best things that could have happened given our situation because it raises the bar.
Yeah.
And I am hopeful that Greg Byrne can put us in a position to exceed that. Because when it's one thing when LSU's doing well and Tennessee's doing well, Kentucky's doing well, but when Auburn's that's an extra little bit of incentive to make sure that our basketball program beats them every time next year.
I agree.
It's that extra little bit to know that that's the team that you're taking on, and I hope we rise to that. But I'll tell you this: when I see folks, one of whom we mentioned earlier in the interview that I won't name again, say on Facebook things like, "I wish a team in Crimson had that kind of heart." No, we don't want anything Auburn has.
Right.
We're never allowed to say that we want anything they have or want to do anything that they do. We do it our own way on our own terms, and we exceed whatever they do. We want what they've got. We
want the recognition that they have right now. We don't want the path that they have done it. We don't want to hire a criminal, a guy who has an NCAA past.
There you go.
Which is why I was worried about you wanting Patino.
And let me tell you, Hunter talked about the echo chamber. There was a little bit of one forming around Patino.
Yeah.
Before Thad Matta came up.
There was a lot of one.
So,
and like Hunter said, it was mostly fogs.
Yep.
So,
guilty.
Yeah, okay. But I've said it. Hunter said it. Hunter and I said it. We're recovering fogs. We have seen the light.
Yep.
Thanks to Ben Foster.
We have.
We will never say that to his face, though.
We have. So if you look at who you got, then Texas Tech, Auburn, Michigan State, Virginia. Who you got?
You got to go with Michigan State.
Yeah, I agree.
It's either Michigan State or Texas Tech. I think if Texas Tech plays the way they played against Gonzaga, Texas Tech is a boa constrictor type team. They don't score, but they will suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
If they can suck the life out of Michigan State, they win the whole thing.
Well, they got to do it to Auburn first.
They will. I think Auburn gets past Virginia. God, I hate saying that. Because I thought Virginia was going to be the first number one to get knocked out, truthfully.
Yeah.
And they never surprised me, never shocked me. I mean, they almost lost again to a number 16 seed this year.
Yeah, and that's really the thing that bugs me about it the most is if there was any, and now that they've gotten past UNC, right, if there was another 1 seed that they could probably get past without a problem, it would have been Virginia.
Right.
I don't think any of us picked Virginia to go far. And I almost feel like they got that, once they cleared that hurdle and then got Kentucky, who even Alabama beat. Right. Now you got Virginia, who almost lost, like you said, to a high seed. It just feels like that path is getting easier, and I like that.
Yeah, when Kentucky was up at halftime big, and I had a tweet ready to go. I was ready to send it.
See, you jinxed it.
I know. My tweet was going to be, y'all made the Elite Eight, but at least we beat Kentucky.
Oh, Dave.
I didn't send it.
Yeah, but don't type it. Don't type it. Put your phone down. Next game. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. There's that. So, of the four, you asked me, who do you think?
Michigan State.
Michigan State? Okay.
Yeah.
I got Texas Tech or Michigan State. I can't pull the trigger between those two yet.
Yeah.
I just don't know because you don't know what team.
It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a really good game, but I think that of two of them, that'll be the side that wins it.
I just hate that it's WrestleMania weekend because there's so much wrestling going on this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can pull myself to watch orange and blue. Two teams, nonetheless, that are orange and blue playing each other. I don't want that on my TV.
Right.
I'm gonna
watch it on your phone, and then you can put it over to the side, and it's a small screen.
Well, no, because I have two wrestling events going at the same time. Yes, I'm that guy.
Can I provide us with a premium segue, Dave?
Go ahead.
Speaking of inconvenient scheduling of sporting events, how about the AF scheduling a playoff game on Easter Sunday at noon?
And having to change the location twice. And then, first off, they changed it to Easter Sunday? I thought it was April 27th originally.
Easter Sunday at noon.
Well, you just broke news to me.
It's one. I don't think it's the final. I think it's one of the playoff games, but still. I've seen a couple of different takes on it. I saw one take that says that, well, the NBA plays on Christmas, the NFL plays on Thanksgiving, they'll do fine. And I'm like, yeah, but people aren't at church on Thanksgiving.
Right.
Most churches, I think, do Christmas Eve. Some do Christmas Day, depending on what day of the week it falls on, right?
Right.
But everybody goes to church. And I don't know anybody who is going to the second, right? If you have two, you're not going to be home by noon.
No.
So I'm not exactly sure what the thought process was.
And
no
one watches the AAF. So why
there's that too.
Why would you give yourself even more of a disadvantage?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
So
we talked about it, right? I mean, when they announced that if the NFL Players Union didn't give them some rookies, right?
Yeah.
That they were probably going to have to fold it, like a little bit of a cop out. This feels like another one of those almost like self-destructive acts.
Yeah.
Where they're setting themselves up where, well, we didn't even get good ratings on the playoff, and I don't know, it almost feels like they're coming up with reasons now.
Yeah. And they've basically, Vince McMahon is in the background licking chops.
Oh yeah.
Because Vince is a good businessman.
Yeah. And he gets the advantage of looking at everything that they've done right and copying it.
Yeah.
And then seeing what they did wrong and fixing it.
And he has his own network.
Yeah.
Granted, I pay $10 a month for it, but I'm a wrestling fan who already is invested in Vince McMahon while I hate the stuff he's doing right now.
Yeah.
I still watch it. It's still a product.
Yep.
Hey, wait, that sounds like something else we're going to talk about here in a couple of minutes. So
that's an early segue. Wow, you're giving premium segues before we even are ready to segue,
right?
Dave.
I know.
Look at you.
So I wanted to like the AAF. I wanted to fall in love with it. I thought and I felt that they had the names around it that could go the distance. I mean, you had Jeff Fisher, you had Bill Polian, you had Chuck Ebersol, you had Dick Ebersol. Maybe the XFL issues wasn't Vince McMahon.
Maybe
it was Dick Ebersol.
And I'll tell you, going to that first Orlando game, the processes and the way they had everything set up, and it felt like a professional operation. I mean, you had enough people who were in it in the NFL and around it and long enough to know that it should feel that way. But it felt something that was going to get legs. And I don't know, when your majority shareholders are publicly questioning the viability.
Yeah, there's something wrong.
And you didn't make payroll the first. I mean, all of these things where there's smoke, there's fire. It's like there's times when leadership steps out and does, strategic things. They drop strategic facts, or leak news, or show some doubt to get something else to happen.
Right.
There's too much of it out there to feel like there's not really a problem.
Yeah. I am shocked every day I wake up and I open them up and I don't have the ESPN alert saying the AAF is folded.
Yeah,
I really am.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were thinking it was going to be before the playoffs even happened.
Right.
That they may not even play a championship game.
And there still is that thought because the championship game is not for another 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you caught this story up there, but there were even issues with the Orlando radio station that calls the game.
Really?
The AAF did not front the money to pay them last week, the last time they played in Orlando. And so the last home game, they didn't have radio coverage because the AAF didn't front the money to them.
Wow.
That's the gist of the story. There's more detail, and I'm sure I'm misstating something. But the gist of it was that it was one of those things that fell through the cracks again.
Maybe we need to have old Tom Abraham on again.
Maybe.
Talk about it. I'll give him a call and see if he can talk about
I mean, maybe it just feels like the wheels are coming off a little bit, and I hope it's not the case because you see like Trent Richardson, and he's able to come out and connect with the fans and actually play what he loves to do. I love it for guys like him.
Yeah.
But overall, if the heart's not in it of all the folks who are running the show, then it's going to struggle. But we'll see. I mean,
I'll say something, too, that's going against your sideline warning last week a little bit, Adam.
Yeah?
I watched a little bit of that Orlando-Memphis game just because of who Memphis quarterback was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he looked like Johnny Football.
Yeah.
He looked like the Texas A&M Johnny Manziel having fun out there before he got a concussion and couldn't play again. But he looked like the old Johnny Manziel that we're used to seeing. So maybe it would have been good for him, too.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, you look at what Orlando's quarterback's been able to do, right?
Yeah.
But the problem with it at the end of the day is always going to be that everybody on the team had their shot at the NFL and none of them got it, or they're at the end of their career. So, Gilbert's playing against, and Johnny's playing against people that are at the end of the day never had that much game to begin with, know? And so is it really going to have that feedback loop back into the NFL of, Garrett Gilbert proves himself, Johnny Manziel proves himself, now they get another shot, or is everybody going to say, yeah, but it's like minor leagues, right?
Well, Tommy Maddox did it with the XFL.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, they got to stay afloat to make it happen either way, so we'll see what happens.
What I did like, too, is, even though I'm a big Bama guy, I do like some of the storylines. Yeah. Johnny Manziel was chirping at Xavier Dixon. I mean, it brought back 2012 rivalries.
Yeah.
It was some fun things to watch. So, I don't know.
Yep.
All right. We got to talk about it. This isn't going to be a premium segue. This is just, I did that premium segue earlier.
It's a hard cut now.
Yeah. Braves. Started off.
Wait. You mean the Phillies versus
minor league team?
Like vapor? I mean, it didn't feel like the entire Braves team was there.
Started off, Tehran, besides the one first pitch home run to McCutcheon, Tehran looked decent. He was a failure for the most part. But, struck out Bryce Harper, walked him. The first game, Bryce Harper did nothing.
Yeah.
Besides score after Luke Jackson was Luke Jackson.
Yep.
The Braves offense, 6 runs. Matt Joyce come up there, first game home run. Looked great, bring up from minor leagues, basically.
Yeah.
But that bullpen.
Yeah, man.
That's the worst bullpen I've ever seen the Braves put out
Well, it was game 3 of the series, right? It was 1-1, and then we turned it over to the bullpen, and it's like it's the 4th or 5th inning, and we're already handed over, and it's almost like admitting defeat in a way. I don't know. It's still a gaping hole that's got to be addressed overall.
Yep.
But I think that series, you were asking folks on Twitter what should we talk about, and someone brought up the Braves, and let's talk about what's going on. And I don't know it's time to hit the panic button yet. I think that what has me concerned is exactly what we thought would happen happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I picked the Braves to be third behind the Phillies and the Nats, right?
Right.
And it's like that's what it felt like. It felt like we're not going to be able to compete with whether it's the Phillies or the Nationals, whoever's at the front. We didn't even compete. And it's the offense was there, and it's like the pitching just can't keep people off the base. They can't keep loading the bases and then walking in runs and walking 5 people. In one inning or whatever it was, and it's just like they can't help themselves.
Yeah, before tonight, the Braves were the only winless team in Major League Baseball.
Yeah. I mean, 1-3 is not the start anybody really wanted to have.
No, it's not. Now, the Cubs looked horrible. I don't know if you saw
Yeah, I was shocked, dude.
6 errors in a game.
I know. And I picked them to win the Central.
I did too.
So, yeah, man.
That's crazy. All right. The Braves suck. Just flat forward, the Braves suck.
But I don't know that I agree with that statement, though. You look at today, like you said, 6 runs against the Phillies. It's there. We just can't sustain 9 innings on the defensive side. And that was what we talked about last year, and it felt like the year before that, too, is the big run innings killed us.
Well, how much of this do we put on Gossman being hurt, Folty being hurt, A.J. Minter being hurt, blah, 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 blah,
I mean, maybe one of the games. Maybe one.
I'd say,
but eventually you're going to have to
give it
rely.
To 2 of them. I'd give it to
okay,
2 of them.
I won't get mad about that.
Because,
but eventually you're going to have to sustain half of your games. Let's just say 50% of your season. You're going to have to rely on the arms in your bullpen to get you over that tough hump when it's a 1-1 game or your offense is clicking. You can't either give the game away in 1 run or let the other offense do better than ours. They're going to have to rely on those guys to pull us through. And actually, if we're going to win the division or get into a wild card, they have to be somewhat on point. Because they weren't great last year and we still made it, right? But
do you know,
it just feels like they're not even there this year.
So if you or I were running the team.
Yes.
And you start the season 0-3, and the major reason was because of your bullpen. Who's still a free agent, Adam?
What's his face? It's not like we've said it a million times.
Craig Kimbrell. And not just Craig Kimbrell. There are other bullpen free agents. Go sign somebody.
Yeah.
Because just one guy in the bullpen. Kimbrell's a closer. That's what people say. Oh, he's a closer. That would have helped. You know what would have helped? Luke Jackson wouldn't have been on the spot.
Yep.
They would have spot to somebody else. Biddle would have come in. It would have been someone else's rotation.
Yep.
That moves people up. That frees other arms in the lineup.
Yeah.
One guy could have helped that 1-1 tie.
That's right.
All right, which leads to something that we don't normally do. We were going to do a dual rant. I do a sideline warning. Adam does a sideline warning. But we both had the same thought. The thing we want to rant on the most, well, we've already ranted on because of Funny Main and calling himself a Bama fan, but rooting for Auburn. But really, the thing we wanted to rant the most was these Atlanta Braves.
Yep.
Adam, I'll let you get it started, and then I'll pick up where I think you've probably failed to really punch that power home.
Yeah. I'll alley-oop and you'll slam it home. That's what they like.
Because
we're using basketball terms now to talk about baseball.
Yeah, I'll slam this one home because I almost told people what I was going to do on Facebook today.
There you go. So I keep making the point, Twitter, Facebook, when we talk, me and Dave, and the biggest rant that I have is that it is so apparently that the Braves organization and the baseball team that goes out on the field is an attraction to bring foot traffic into what Liberty Media's main focus is, which is an outdoor real estate venture. Mm-hmm. And I've ranted on that in so many different ways, on here and off of here. But at the end of the day, it is apparent that what has happened is you have what I think in AA is and his team is a good front office that's pulled together between Albies and Acuna and Freeman and all those guys. I think we have the offense to do really well. We just don't have the pitching rotation to support that, or anybody else, right? And it's an obvious glaring hole. The problem with that gaping hole is that it costs money to fix. And that's why we haven't signed Kimbrel yet, is he's asking too much money. So what we've done is we've identified a problem. If you put this purely in business terms, is we've identified a problem that needs to be fixed, but the upper echelon does not agree with the cost that's required to fix that problem because their prioritization of where funding is going to go is focused elsewhere. And it irritates me because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you buy a baseball team, you run a baseball team. I think we've all seen Major League, right? It's starting to feel a little bit like that, right? So at the end of the day, I think that Liberty Media's got to untie the first, allow them to go after the talent that's needed, because I honestly think that this offense could win the division again, probably even win around to the playoffs. The way that we played today proves that. Even the way we played a couple times in the 3-game series with the Phillies, we can score runs. We just can't stop the other team from scoring more. Whether it's big innings or a close 1-1 game, we can't stop it. So the thing that pushed me over the edge when you and I were talking about this earlier today, Dave, is if you go to MLB's website, you actually can find on the official Atlanta Braves page a directory for the Battery of all the stores, all the way down to the friggin' Haagen-Dazs and ice cream shops and all of the stores that are there. What Major League Baseball team has a directory of a mall on their official page that has more detail on it than their roster? Name one.
None.
The Atlanta Braves.
Well, besides the Braves, yes.
It is so glaringly obvious that Liberty Media is fielding a baseball team to drive foot traffic and revenue into stores so that they can collect rent. I mean, if you look at the pure square footage, the stadium is a small portion of the overall Battery. And it is so glaringly obvious and overly ridiculous that I wish Ted Turner would take it over.
I do too.
I wish somebody would just come in and save these guys. Keep them there. I don't have a problem with where the stadium is. But the fact
it's a beautiful stadium. Have you been?
I haven't been yet. Well, I've been to the Battery. I haven't been in the stadium.
It's beautiful.
And I'll say we ate at the restaurant. I can't remember the name of it, but it's right outside of the stadium. And it was great food. The whole concept works. But you can't field a baseball team purely to drive foot traffic into a mall and not expect a revolt from the fans.
Yeah.
Right now, if we score 6-8 runs a game on average, but they score 10 and 12 runs a game on average, and the close games get away in the late innings, and those types of things start to happen, you will have an open revolt on your hands. We have fielded a good team. We just don't have the one piece we need. It's extremely frustrating. So alley-oop, Dave.
Yeah, let me take it from there. Here's what I say about that, Adam. There's only one way this gets fixed. And I hate to say this because I'm the biggest Braves fan out there. One of the biggest Braves fans out there. This might be the first year I actually worked during opening day.
Wow.
I've worn a jersey every day since when I get home from work, I put my jersey on. No lie. I've got Braves jerseys in my closet.
You're wearing one right now.
I'm wearing one right now. I've got the official Major League, the official 5950 hat on right now.
Yeah.
I spend good, hard-earned money on my fandom for the Atlanta Braves. The only way that Liberty Media will know that we as fans are not happy, it's not showing to the ballpark and booing. It's not going. I, for one, while I am upset that we lost 3 games, I'm happy that Liberty Media showed us what they plan to do with this year's Atlanta Braves because it saved me a lot of money. I will not go put her money into SunTrust Park, into the Battery, until Liberty Media shows me that they are going to put their money into a product that they're happy about. Why should I put my money into a product that the owners aren't going to put their money into? This year's team, who is supposed to be better than last year's team, has less of a payroll than the team that was kind of put together with duct tape last year to win their division. So why in the world do we expect the same result with less talent, less money? It blows my mind that somebody who says they want a team to do well, to bring money into this mall venture, whatever crap it is, I'm not going to pay $300 a night to stay at the Omni. I have a Wahlburgers coming to Huntsville. It's not great. I can eat Haagen-Dazs anytime I want to. The only thing that I really wouldn't mind going into is that baseball store, and I'm not paying $45 for a T-shirt. I can make a T-shirt that has sayings from the Major League movies. So there's nothing at the Battery that really makes me happy except one thing. SunTrust Park. And if you expect to have my money going into SunTrust Park, you do something about it and make my team better than than the crap that you're putting on the field right now. Because I about said it. You heard the SH coming in my mouth.
Yep.
So the only way that we are going to see the Braves really get better is for fans not to show up. And I hate that because this 8-0 game that we just watched tonight gives me hope. Rebellions are built on hope. But unfortunately, this isn't the hope that we need to build a rebellion. The hope that we need to build a rebellion towards Sunday night. I don't know if you watched that game, Adam.
I did not.
Okay.
No.
Go back and watch some of the videos of the ninth inning. The Phillies fans freaking did a tomahawk chop. If that doesn't make you mad as a Braves fan, if that doesn't make you as mad as a Braves fan in Auburn in the Final Four as an Alabama fan, then check that A off your chest. Take that Braves gear off because you're not a Braves fan. Washington and New York were my two hated rivals going into this season. I'm sorry, but that shit that happened in Philly, that pissed me off.
Good. I'm editing this week. It's all good. So I don't disagree with you. The hard part of it is that if people don't show up, and ultimately you're not going to get if the pitching. How do I want to word this? If the pitching staff can't carry us to where we're a competitive team, you're not going to have an MVP candidate who really is going to come off a team that's in the bottom half of their division,
right? Unless
they're super great. Everybody's debating.
Which
everybody
has the possibility to be.
That's what I'm saying. Acuna. Everybody's talking. He got Rookie of the Year. Now can he get the MVP? Not if we're in fourth place in the East. Right. He can't.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is if no one shows up and if we don't invest in the right pieces to get this team to where they're going to be in the top of the East or at least in the wild card hunt, you're going to start to lose the Acunas. They're going to look elsewhere. Albie's going to look elsewhere. We got Freddie. I mean, he's the next chipper.
He said he wants to finish his career at Atlanta.
So I mean, I'm not concerned about him, but this young talent we've got that really has ended up carrying us last year,
right,
and probably will again this year, is not going to hang out if they have the ability to be the MVP. I mean, why do you think Trout stayed with the Angels? He has the ability and a team that's actually competitive enough to be at the upper half of the they're in. Even if they don't win it, he's out there enough and getting enough results where he can be an MVP candidate. We're just going to start losing these guys, and that's the sad part of it is that people not showing up is going to be detrimental in some ways that might actually be more detrimental. But how else are you going to do it?
Exactly. I mean,
that's the hard part. Balance that.
If we show up anyway. I understand you want to take your kids to a ballpark. I do. I cannot wait for Madison, Alabama to get their team again.
Yeah.
Because I'll be able to take my little kids to my girls to a ballpark.
Yep.
But I understand you want to go to a major league game. But I don't want to go spend my hard-earned money on a team that the owners don't even want to put their money into.
So how about this? How about show up to the game, root for the team, show your enthusiasm, and then leave the Battery without spending another dime.
Okay with that.
How about that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
How about that?
How about that? How about you meet me outside? How about that? I mean, there's nothing at the Battery that I want. I mean, I ate at Wahlburgers the day I went to because it's okay.
Yeah.
The reason it's popular is because Donnie Wahlberg put his money into it.
Yep.
And you might get the chance to see Marky Mark show up at one of it. I mean, come on. But there's nothing at the Battery that excites me. Really? I mean, the Mexican food there isn't great.
No.
Do you want to spend $300 a night just to say where you can see the ballpark?
No, you know who's staying in the Omni for $300 a night are people who are going on business trips to meetings in the Comcast building.
Right.
That's who's staying in the Omni for $300 a night.
Exactly.
I mean, let's be real.
Ted Turner might stay there one night.
Maybe. But I'm with you, man. Let's root the boys on. Let's push them over the hump. Let's show them that we care. But at the same time, we got to be loud to Liberty, man. Yeah. We have to be loud at those guys to let them know, and gals, to let them know this is not the way that we expect this team to be run.
Yeah. I'm totally shocked that my rant on the Atlanta Braves Facebook didn't get any traction today.
Yeah.
Because I said the same thing.
Yeah.
I basically said the same thing. Let's boycott them.
But I think everybody's in that mode where they're just like, yeah, I know.
I mean,
yeah.
Same old crap.
It is what it is.
Same different day.
Exactly. So come on, Liberty. We know you're listening, Liberty Media.
Liberty Media, come on. You know what? Let's tag Media in some of this. Let's maybe cut this.
Do they have an actual page?
I don't know.
I know there's some fake ones out there.
You know who doesn't have a Twitter?
Who?
Double A.
I don't blame him.
Alex Anthopoulos doesn't have a Twitter.
I don't blame him a bit.
Because I tried the other day to tag him in. Oh, man. All right. If you like that rant, you heard it in the intro. How do you call to get one of your own, Adam?
Yeah, man, 931-40. If you want to rant at Liberty, if you want to rant at us, call us out, bring a hot take, ask a question, talk about anything, man. We're up for it. So 931-44 Blitz, you'll hear a brief message from Google, then it'll cut over to the voicemail message for us. Leave a message, we'll play it on the show. We do it every time.
Yeah.
So get a call.
We hadn't had a call in a couple of weeks, have we?
No, we haven't. What the heck, guys? I know it's spring break. Spring break's over. We're getting into baseball season. Let's hear it. Come on.
City of Cleveland. I mean.
City of Atlanta.
Yeah. The City of Cleveland's neighbor was getting into a Twitter battle with Adam today.
See?
I mean, Brian, come on, man. Call in. I'm calling you out, Brian. Come on, BK. Anyway, all right. On Twitter, if you want to get into a battle with myself, I'm DAdams419. If you want to get into a battle with Adam, he is at RunTideRun. The show is also at SW The Show. We're also on Instagram, same handle. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/SW The Show. Join the Sideline Warning Facebook fan group. Like us on iTunes, like us on Google, give us a 5-star rating, drop a comment in there. And guys, we say it every week. I'm going to change my outro because I'm going to drop for John. I mean, it's
so sad.
I'm going to drop them like a bad habit right now because we don't even know if they're going to have a playoff. So I'm going to do this. Guys, we say it every week. We love you. We mean it. Roll Tide and chop on. See y'all next week.